actually came up with a law to govern the motorbike taxi industry. And I think that was in large part something that was, unregulated for decades before. And I think that came a large part because of the presence of Go-Jek. Right now, this was something that was not, they couldn't ignore. They couldn't just, kind of brush away and say, oh, yeah, like this, turn a blind eye towards, because it was so visible, and the partnerships with the state were so intricate. So it wasn't a very comprehensive law. They were still trying to like figure out what what would be regulated, what wouldn't. But things like minimum like a minimum fare, so like a fare floor, safety standards, licensing, compliance with what would the rules of licensing be, and those then would apply to both Go-Jek and Grab drivers, but also the OJEK, the offline OJEK drivers. How enforcement would happen with that, I'm not sure. I didn't, I think a year later, the pandemic happened. So for example, when the pandemic happened, the government actually banned motorbike taxis for a while again for health and safety reasons. So while you could do food delivery, you couldn't do person transport because there's no way to do social distancing. So that, of course, like, while for platform drivers, a lot of them shifted to food delivery, but for the traditional OJEK market, they really suffered, right? Because they don't have a platform to do food delivery with. So I think it's the regulatory landscape is still shifting. There is, though, lots of conversations around what the fare floor should look like that makes both Go-Jek happy, but also drivers happy. A couple of years ago, there was a massive protest by drivers demanding better wages. But the protest was directed towards the state, as opposed to Go-Jek necessarily. And so then the president intervened and said, okay, we will sort of come up with some sort of response and law. And that's when they started talking about this law that would regulate the minimum, like, per kilometer price, basically, set like more standardized fares. So it's still a back and forth, though. They haven't really reached, as in any other market, they really haven't reached a set equilibrium.